In life, never judge a person by what they wear or how much they have. Sometimes, the richest people are the ones who look the poorest. And the most beautiful hearts wear the simplest clothes. Before we dive into this touching story, please take 1 second to subscribe to this channel. Your support helps us share more emotional and inspiring stories that touch lives and teach deep lessons. If you love stories that speak to the heart, this is the place for you. So hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and let's begin. In the heart of Abuja, where the streets are full of flashy cars, powerful men, and women who wear expensive hair and long eyelashes, there lived a man named John. But no one knew his full story. On the outside, he looked like a struggling, broke man. His shoes had holes. He didn't use perfume, and he carried a small old bag that looked like it had seen 100 years. Most people in Abuja saw him and laughed. Some felt sorry. Others ignored him. But what they didn't know was this. John was one of the richest men in Abuja. Yes, you heard right. He owned 3 houses in Maitmat, 2 companies in Lagos, and 1 secret oil business running from Port Harcourt. His bank accounts were full. His name was known in high circles, but nobody connected that name to the man who looked like a hungry security guard on the streets. So why was a billionaire pretending to be poor? Simple. John was tired. Tired of fake friends. Tired of ladies who only smiled at him because of his money. Tired of people who respected only his designer clothes and imported cars. He wanted something real. He wanted love not for his money, but for his heart. So one morning, John stood in front of his full-body mirror in his mansion, dressed in a torn shirt and brown trousers that looked like they were borrowed from a village hunter. His loyal driver, Mr. Philip, watched him. Said in confusion, "Sir, are you sure about this plan? What if people treat you badly?" John smiled. "That's the point, Philip. I want to know how people treat those they think are poor. I want to find one good woman. Just one. I don't care if she's rich or poor, I just want her to love me for me." He left the mansion and entered a small Kiki Napep he had hired for the week. No more Range Rover. No more bodyguards. Just John, the poor man. He had applied for a job in a normal office weeks ago under a fake name Mr. Chuck's John and was finally called for an interview. Not surprisingly, when he walked into the office reception, the woman at the desk looked at him like he was smelling. "Yes, what do you want?" she asked, frowning. "I have an interview," he said politely. "For what position?" "Cleaner." John smiled. "No. Assistant admin," she hissed, passed him a form without looking, and pointed him to the corner. As he sat there quietly, 4 other people arrived for the same interview. They were well dressed, with suits, perfumes, and polished shoes. They looked at John and laughed silently. One of them whispered, "This one must have missed the road." But John didn't say a word. When it was his turn, he walked into the small interview room. The manager, named Mr. Wallow, didn't even stand up. "You, sit down," the manager said sharply. John sat. "Where are your certificates?" John handed him a few photocopies. "Nothing special." "I see. Okay, we'll call you." But 2 hours later, he was hired. Why? Because the HR manager, a quiet woman named Mrs. Grace, saw something calm and humble in him. John started work the next day. And from that day, his life in that company became something else. His colleagues mocked him openly. "Broke guy, Mr. Old Shoes." One even said, "You better find a side hustle. This salary won't even buy you toothpaste." The company had over 50 workers, but nobody made friends with John. He sat alone during lunch. He was sent on useless errands. When the internet stopped working, they told him to climb the roof to check the signal. But he took it all calmly. Every insult, every laugh, every look at this poor man, he swallowed it. Because deep down, he knew what he was doing. He was watching, studying, looking for that one person who would show kindness to a man with nothing. He worked hard. He swept the front of the office sometimes. Helped those who insulted him. The only thing he never did was complain. Every night, he went back to his mansion in the city. Removed his fake clothes, took a warm bath, and wrote in his journal. "Today, I was laughed at again. But I also saw something good. One woman, a cleaner, greeted me with a smile. I will remember that. He wasn't just looking for love. He was also looking at life. He wanted to use this experience to change how he ran his companies. He wanted to train his staff to treat everyone equally, no matter their background. But still, no woman stood out. Until one day, something happened. But powerful. A poorly dressed man sitting alone in a busy office lunchroom, while others sit far from him, whispering and laughing. The office where John worked was in Woos, a busy area in Abuja. It wasn't a big company, but the workers there carried themselves like they owned the whole of Nigeria. People there loved showing off. Designer bags, imported perfumes, loud voices full of pride. And in the middle of all that, John, quiet, calm, and dressed like a man from the village. From the first week, it was clear. Nobody liked John. They didn't even try to hide it. "Guy, why you day wear this type of cloth every day?" One of the younger staff, Victor, asked loudly one morning. "Is it your uniform?" The others laughed. Another lady added, "Maybe he's fasting from fashion." John smiled and walked past them. He didn't answer. He just kept doing his job, carrying files, sorting papers, running errands. His desk was in the corner near the broken window. Even the cleaner avoided that spot. Lunchtime came. The office had a small lunchroom. All the workers gathered there to eat and gossip. John usually brought food from home, rice and beans in a small plastic bowl. He would sit alone, eat quietly, then go back to his desk. One day, while he was eating, one of the ladies purposely passed behind him and pretended to trip. Her hot jollof rice poured all over his shirt. "Oh my God," she shouted, pretending. "I didn't see him. He was blending with the wall." Everyone laughed, loud and wicked. John looked at his stained shirt. Then looked at the lady. He just smiled and cleaned it with tissue. The same lady whispered to her friend, "I heard he sleeps inside the office. Or maybe under the bridge." It was hard. Even for someone strong like John, it was hard. He went into the restroom and looked at the mirror. His eyes were red. His heart was heavy. "I knew this wouldn't be easy," he said to himself. "But I didn't expect this much hate." Still, he didn't give up. Day after day, John arrived early. He opened the office doors before anyone. He cleaned his desk, helped the receptionist plug in her fan, and carried heavy cartons for the store manager. But nobody said thank you. Not even once. Instead, they gave him more work. One time, the photocopy machine spoiled, and they all shouted at him like he was the machine's father. "Fix it now. What are you doing here if you can't do simple things?" And again, John said nothing. He fixed the machine quietly and returned to his desk. But deep inside, he was asking himself questions. Is this how poor people are treated in normal offices? How many people have lost good opportunities just because of the clothes they wear? How many people are crying silently like me? He began to understand what true suffering meant. And though he was rich, his heart was feeling what millions of poor people in Nigeria face every day. That experience changed him. Each day, he wrote in his journal, "They think I am poor. So they treat me like a goat. But I will never treat anyone like this in my company." Something interesting happened. The company had an emergency. One of the managers misplaced an important contract document. Everyone was shouting. Phones were ringing. The whole office was shaking. John quietly checked the file room, looked through the drawers, and after 30 minutes, he found the missing document. He walked gently into the manager's office and said, "Sir, I think I found it." Mr. Wallow, the fat manager, snatched it from his hand without saying thank you. "You should have brought it earlier. Do you know how much trouble this caused?" John simply nodded and walked away. But deep down, the manager was shocked. He knew if that document had gone missing permanently, he would have lost his job. "Today, I saved the company. But still, no thank you. I think I'm close to finding what I came here for." Then, it happened. She walked in. Her name was Anita. She was new, young, beautiful, natural, simple. She wore a clean black dress and carried a brown handbag. Her smile was calm, not forced like the others. She greeted everyone with respect. "Good morning, sir." "Good morning, ma." When she got to John, she paused for a second. Their eyes met. She smiled gently. "Good morning, sir." John was shocked. Nobody ever called him sir. He smiled back. "Good morning." That same day, during lunch, she sat beside him. Everyone looked. She brought out her food, white rice and stew. "Sir, are you not eating?" she asked John. "I'm fasting," he lied, too embarrassed to open his plastic bowl. Anita looked at him with care. "Are you sure? You can share my food." He smiled, shocked. "No, thank you. I'm okay." John felt human again. After lunch, one of the wicked ladies pulled Anita aside. "Stay away from that man," she warned. "He's poor. He has nothing. People say he lives in a one-room, face me I face you." Anita looked her in the eye. "So, is that a reason to treat him like trash?" The lady frowned. "Just saying. Don't say I didn't warn you." But Anita didn't stop. The next day, she greeted John again. And again. And again. They started walking to the bus stop together. They talked. They laughed. John noticed something special in her. She never asked him for money. She never looked at his shoes. She never cared about his small phone. She just saw him a humble, respectful man. John began to fall in love. But he told himself to wait. Wait and be sure she was real. Because this might just be the answer to the test he started. In a world where many people only care about money, Anita was different. She was real. She was genuine. And she was the only one who treated John like a human being. She had a special glow. Not because of expensive makeup or clothes, no. Anita was simple. But she had one thing most others didn't have. A good heart. John noticed it quickly. He saw the way she greeted the security men outside the gate. Not with pride, but with respect. She said each time, and even called them by name. She would ask the cleaner, "Have you eaten today?" She gave the receptionist her own hand sanitizer one day when the office ran out. And when the generator man was sick, she bought him medicine with her own money. Nobody told her to do these things. She did them because kindness was her nature. That's why John couldn't stop watching her. One evening, after work, they both walked to the bus stop together. It had started raining, and Anita didn't have an umbrella. John only had a nylon bag over his head. "Let's stay under that shop shade for now," John said. They stood side by side, waiting for the rain to reduce. John was quiet, thinking. Anita looked at him. "You don't talk much, sir," she said. John chuckled. "That's because I don't have many people who talk to me." She smiled. "I don't mind talking to you." That sentence entered deep into his heart. "I'm just curious," she said, turning toward him. "Why are you always so calm, even when people are rude to you?" John thought for a moment. Then answered, "Because life is bigger than the way people treat you. I've learned not to react. I observe, and I forgive." Anita looked surprised. "Wow, that's deep. You must have gone through a lot." John gave a soft smile. "Let's just say, I've seen both sides of life." That night, as John returned to his mansion, he sat in his living room, surrounded by gold-plated furniture, luxury art, and floors that shine. "She is kind. She doesn't care about how I look. She listens. She gives. She cares. Maybe this is the one." The next day, John brought lunch for both of them. It wasn't fancy, just jollof rice and chicken, packed in a simple container. When he handed it to Anita, she smiled with her whole face. "Thank you so much. You didn't have to." The others in the office saw them laughing and eating together, and the gossip began again. "She must be desperate. She doesn't have class." One of the ladies walked up to Anita and said with a fake smile, "Be careful. Poor men can sweet talk you with small gifts, but they will drag your life down." Anita looked her straight in the eye. "It's better to eat rice with peace than jollof with pride." That lady was speechless. John stood behind and smiled. Later that day, John offered to walk Anita home. She agreed. They both entered a Kiki Napep together. John told her he grew up in village with his grandmother. He didn't say the full truth, but what he shared was real: how he once hawked oranges, how he learned business from watching people in the market, and how he used to sell gala in traffic. Anita opened up too. "I grew up in Kogi," she said. "My father died when I was 10. My mother raised me and my younger brother alone." She looked away for a second, as if trying to fight tears. "She's sick now. Kidney problem. But I can't afford the full treatment yet." John's heart broke inside him. She was going through all this, yet she still smiled at people every day. "Do you live with her?" he asked. "Yes. I take care of her. After work, I rush home to give her medicine." John was quiet. He called his private assistant and transferred 800,000 naira to the hospital directly in secret. The next day, the hospital called Anita. "Your mother's bill has been paid," the nurse said over the phone. Anita was confused. "What? By who? No name. Anonymous. But it's all settled. God. Whoever you are. Bless you." She told John about it that evening while they were sitting at a bus stop again. "I don't know who paid. But I just know God sent them. He heard my cry." John looked at her. His chest was full. He wanted to tell her it was him. But he held it in. Instead, he said, "I think you deserve it. Good people always find favor." She smiled again, her eyes shining like glass in the evening sun. "Thank you," she said. "You always say the right things." John went home, sat in his mansion. That kind of heart is rare. And I think, I'm falling for her. There's something about love when it starts silently. No big fireworks. No loud promises. Just small acts of kindness. Quiet glances. And soft moments that touch the heart. That was how John's love for Anita began. He didn't even realize it at first. He just found himself thinking about her all the time. In the morning, when he was dressing up in his fake old clothes, he would smile and say to himself, "I hope she comes to work early today." At the office, when she passed by, his heart would jump a little. When she smiled, it felt like the sun entered his body. And every time she spoke to him kindly, he felt like he had won a lottery. But still, he said nothing. He was still testing, still observing. He didn't want to be fooled again. In the past, many beautiful women had pretended to love him. Some even cried fake tears. But the moment he gave them a car or a house, they changed. So this time, he wanted to be 100% sure. Anita came to work looking tired. Her eyes were red, and she was walking slowly. John noticed immediately. "Are you okay?" he asked. "I'm fine," she said, forcing a smile. "I just didn't sleep well. My mom had a rough night." "Did she eat?" "Not much. She's refusing food now. Says she doesn't want to be a burden." John's heart ached. That evening, after work, he followed her home for the first time. Not inside, just to the gate. The area wasn't fine. The house was old, paint peeling, no electricity, small children running. "Thank you for walking me," she said. "I'm sure you will be late getting home." John smiled. "It's okay. I don't mind." She paused. "You're really a good person." That statement touched something deep in John. No one has said that to me in a long time. They stood there for a while, just looking at each other in silence. From that day, things began to change. Not in a dramatic way, but slowly, beautifully. They began to share food more often. Sometimes Anita would bring yam porridge, and John would bring fried rice. They started texting too. Nothing romantic yet, just check. "How was your night? Don't forget to eat today. Please greet your mum for me." And slowly, the cold wall John had built around his heart for years began to melt. But the gossip in the office didn't stop. "She's falling for him. Doesn't she know he's a nobody?" Very soon, she went start borrowing money for him. Anita ignored them. She didn't care what anyone said. One Friday, when the rain fell heavily, and everybody rushed to their cars or Uber rides, Anita stood under the company porch, waiting for the rain to stop. John came out with a large black umbrella. "I will walk you to the junction," he said. "You will get wet," she replied. "It's okay." They shared the umbrella and walked through the water-soaked streets. Cars splashed dirty water. Boda riders sped past them. But inside that umbrella, it felt like peace. "I wish more people were like you," Anita said softly. "Simple, kind, real." John looked at her. "Maybe one day, I will tell you who I really am." She laughed, thinking it was a joke. "Are you a prince in disguise?" she asked, joking. He smiled but said nothing. But deep down, his heart was screaming. "Yes, Anita, I'm not who you think I am. I'm rich, I'm powerful, but I've never felt this safe with anyone before." Thinking about her, he sat in his home inside his mansion, looking at her photos on his phone. Photos he secretly took when they were laughing, eating, and talking. He called his driver. "Philip, come here." "Yes, sir." John looked at him. "Do you think she's real?" Philip smiled. "Sir, I've watched you hide your real life for 3 months now. I've seen many women come and go. But this one, she's different. She doesn't see your money, yet she respects you." John nodded. "I'm scared, Philip. If I tell her the truth, will she still love me?" Philip gave a wise smile. "Only one way to find out, sir. But from where I stand, that girl already loves you." The next week, something big was about to happen. A birthday was coming. Not Anita's, not John's, but something would happen on that birthday that would show Anita's heart even more. And John would have to decide. Tell her the truth, or continue hiding. The office was buzzing. Laughter, music, balloons. It was Anita's birthday. Everyone was excited not because they cared deeply, but because they loved birthday parties in the office. Food, drinks, cake, selfies. Chinwei and the other big girls decorated the staff lunchroom with pink ribbons and shiny papers. They carried snacks like queens serving in a palace. Even the men wore their finest clothes that day, hoping to catch Anita's attention. Some came with flowers. Others came with perfume. One even came with a box of foreign chocolate. But John, he sat quietly at his desk, holding a small nylon bag. Inside it, a birthday card he bought from a roadside vendor for 300 naira and a necklace. Not gold, not silver, just a simple black chain with a wooden heart on it. Handmade. He had found it the day before from a poor old woman selling by the roadside. She had said, "This is not expensive, but it carries blessing. John had smiled and bought it. Not because it was flashy, but because it was meaningful. As the party began, Anita was smiling and greeting everyone. She wore a beautiful native gown sky blue, with tiny beads on her hair. Even without makeup, she looked like a queen. The entire room was watching her, taking photos. Then John stood up. Everyone noticed. "What's this one doing?" Victor whispered. "Don't tell me he came with biscuit." Chinwe laughed. John walked forward, slowly. He handed the nylon bag to Anita. "Happy birthday," he said. Anita took the bag. She looked at him with warm eyes and smiled. "Thank you so much." She opened the bag in front of everyone. When they saw the small wooden necklace and the birthday card, the room went silent. Then someone giggled. Then another. Then Chinwe, with her loud mouth, shouted, "What is this? Wood? Are we in the bush?" Laughter filled the room like wildfire. Even the manager tried to hide his own smirk. Victor added, "This one is giving village gift on a birthday." No shame. But Anita didn't laugh. She looked down at the necklace in her hand. Then she looked at John. "Did you buy this for me?" she asked. John nodded. "It's not expensive," he said. "But I wanted to give you something from the heart." And then something happened. Anita removed the necklace she was wearing, and put the wooden one around her neck. The whole office froze. "I love it," she said. John looked up, eyes wide. "Really?" "Yes," she said, smiling. "Because you gave it to me with a clean heart." Nobody spoke. Even Chinwe's mouth was shut. That moment changed something in the air. People started seeing Anita differently. And John? They looked at him with new eyes. But the respect only came from a few. Others still mocked silently. That evening, as everyone was leaving the office, John walked her to the gate again. "Thank you for wearing the necklace," he said. She smiled and touched it gently. "Why wouldn't I? It's beautiful. Just like your heart." He looked at her, and for a second, he wanted to say everything. "I'm not who you think I am." But he held the words. Instead, he said, "I've never met someone like you, Anita." She looked at him gently. "I've never met someone like you either." They stood in silence for a while, the wind blowing softly between them. John returned home and went straight to his balcony. "Today, I saw true love in action." He picked up his phone and looked at her WhatsApp status. She had posted a picture of the wooden necklace. Caption: "My favorite birthday gift. It may be simple, but the heart behind it is gold." John held the phone to his chest. He knew it now. He was in love. But now came the big question. How much longer could he keep hiding? What if she found out from someone else? What if she felt betrayed? What if she walked away after knowing the truth? The fear was growing in him. But so was the love. And he knew that very soon, something had to give. Because love and secrets don't mix forever. Monday morning arrived, but the air in the office wasn't the same. Ever since the birthday party, whispers had grown louder. Some workers stared at Anita like she was mad. Others shook their heads at John like he had performed charm. "Can you imagine?" Chinwe said loudly near the water dispenser. "She wore that wooden nonsense like it was diamond." Victor replied, "Maybe poverty is contagious." But Anita didn't mind. She wore the wooden necklace with pride every single day. It became her identity. To her, it wasn't just a gift. It was a reminder. A reminder that love could be pure, even in a dirty world. But to Mr. Wallow, the manager, it was a problem. He had been watching Anita for weeks. Not just her work, but her closeness to John. And he didn't like it. Not because of professionalism, but because deep down, Mr. Wallow had feelings for Anita too. Silent feelings, hidden behind office reports and fake authority. Now, watching her laugh with a nobody like John made his blood boil. He called her into his office one afternoon. "Anita, sit down," he said coldly. She sat. "I've been observing you lately," he began. "Your closeness with that messenger boy." Anita blinked. "Sir, if you're referring to Mr. John, he's not a messenger. He's an admin assistant." Mr. Wallow lips tightened. "Whatever he is, your closeness is causing noise in this office. People are talking. It's affecting productivity." Anita frowned slightly. "With all due respect, sir, how is my greeting someone affecting productivity?" "Don't argue with me," he barked. "You're not in a relationship, are you?" Anita stayed silent. Mr. Wallow leaned forward. "Stay away from him, or we have to move you to another department." Anita stood up. "Sir, with all due respect, I won't stop being kind because people are uncomfortable. I treat him the same way I treat the cleaner, the gate man, and everyone else with respect." She walked out. That day, her workload doubled. She was given more files, more reports, more errands. Even during lunch, she was called back 3 times to help with urgent tasks. John noticed. He walked to her desk and whispered, "Are you okay?" She smiled weakly. "Just office stress." He looked at her hands. They were tired. Her eyes had dark circles. But her spirit, still shining. He clenched his fists in silence. He wanted to walk into that manager's office and shout, "You have no idea who I am. You're mistreating the woman I love for standing by me." But he held himself back. Because the test wasn't over yet. That evening, as she walked to the bus stop, he followed. "I can help carry your bag," he said. "It's okay," she smiled. "I'm getting used to the stress." He looked at her. "You don't have to suffer because of me." She stopped walking. "John, if being kind to you brings punishment, then we take it with joy. I'd rather be punished for doing good than praised for being fake." John swallowed hard. His eyes burned. This woman. She's not just kind. She's strong. She's not just beautiful. She's wise. She's not just someone I love. She's someone I need. That night, John sat in his massive living room. The chandelier sparkled above him, but all he could see in his mind was Anita tired, carrying heavy files, yet smiling. He couldn't take it anymore. He stood up, walked to his study, and opened his private safe. Inside were 2 things. A document with the company's full ownership records. He placed them on the table. He looked at them. Then he closed the safe again. Not yet. Not now. But soon. Because a storm was coming. And when it hit, every fake smile in that office would disappear. But for now, he would continue his quiet game. Because the real reward wasn't revenge. It was Anita, and she was worth more than 1,000 trophies. The Abuja air was thick with dust and noise, but inside the small hospital ward where Anita's mother stayed, everything was quiet. Too quiet. Anita sat beside her mother, holding her hand. The older woman was weak. Her eyes were tired, her breathing slow. "Mummy, please try to eat something," Anita said gently. Her mother shook her head. "I'm tired, my daughter. The pain is too much." Tears rolled down Anita's cheeks, but she wiped them quickly. "Don't worry, Mummy. We find a way. God will help us." But deep inside, Anita was scared. The doctor had given her the bill for the next treatment session. 950,000 naira. Where would she get that kind of money? Her entire savings was less than 40,000 naira. Her salary was already finished before it arrived. The company hadn't paid their last month's bonus. And now, her manager had reduced her working hours just to punish her. She walked out of the hospital, wiped her tears again, and whispered to herself, "God, I need a miracle. Please." And the miracle came, but not in a loud, dramatic way. No thunder. No angel from heaven. Just a quiet man. Walking into the hospital in the evening with an envelope. John. He didn't enter the ward. He wore a cap and sunglasses and spoke to the nurse on duty. "I want to pay for Madam Comfort's treatment. Please don't tell her who paid." The nurse was surprised. "Are you a relative?" "No," he replied. "Just a friend." "Who cares?" He handed over the envelope 1 million in cash. And walked away. The next morning, Anita arrived at the hospital as usual, tired from another night of crying and praying. But the nurse stopped her at the entrance. "Miss Anita, good news. Your mother's bill has been fully paid." Anita froze. "What? Are you sure?" "Yes, Ma, all of it. Someone dropped the money last night." Anita's heart began to race. "Who? Please, can you describe the person?" The nurse shrugged. "He wore a cap. Face wasn't clear. Didn't give his name. Just said he was a friend." Anita stood there, confused. She sat by her mother's bed, held her hand, and whispered, "Mummy, we are saved. God heard us." Her mother whispered back, "Thank you, Jesus." But Anita's mind was racing. Who would do such a thing for me? I only told one person about the hospital bill. John. Her heart skipped. Could it be? No, he was struggling too, wasn't he? She remembered his old shoes. His faded shirts. His small Nokia phone. But then again, she remembered something else. The way he spoke sometimes. Like someone who had seen the world. The way he never got angry, even when insulted. The way he always listened more than he talked. Could it be that John was hiding something? As she returned to work, she saw him sitting alone at his desk, typing quietly. She walked straight to him. "John, can we talk outside?" He stood up, surprised. Of course. They walked to the back of the building, where the generator made noise and no one could hear them. She turned to face him. "My mother's bill was paid last night," she said. He looked at her calmly. "That's great news." She studied his face. "The nurse said it was a man who brought the money." Didn't give a name. He nodded yes. That's what you said. Silence. Was it you, John? He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he looked into her eyes and said, "What if it was?" She gasped slightly. "Why would you do that? That's almost 1 million naira." He smiled gently. "Because you deserve it. And your mother deserves to live." Anita was speechless. "I don't know what to say." "You don't have to say anything," he said. "Just let her get well." She looked at him for a long time. There was something in his eyes. Something deep. Gentle. Powerful. "I don't understand you, John," she said. "You look like a poor man, but you behave like a king." He chuckled. "Maybe I'm both." She shook her head and wiped her tears. "Thank you. We never forget this." He nodded. "You're welcome." She posted on her WhatsApp status again. Photo. Her mother smiling in bed. Caption. "God bless the man who showed up when hope was lost. You may be quiet, but your heart speaks loudly." John saw it and smiled. Then, for the first time, he replied. His message: sometimes the richest people are not the ones with money. But the ones with love. Anita read it. She started working at that office. Her heart skipped for John. Not out of pity, but out of something deeper. Something she was not ready to say out loud. Yet, the office was busy that Monday morning. Laptops clicked. Phones rang. Laughter floated through the air as people gossiped about the latest Instagram trends. Everything seemed normal, until a loud voice echoed from the manager's office. "Get him out of here. He's a thief." Heads turned. Voices dropped. Everyone rushed toward the hallway where the drama was unfolding. John stood silently at the center of the crowd, surrounded by 3 office security guards. His shirt was slightly torn at the collar. His face was calm but his eyes, cold. Mr. Wallow stood behind him, waving a paper in his hand like a weapon. "We caught him with a company check," he shouted. "He was trying to forge my signature." Gasps filled the office. Chinwei whispered loudly, "I knew it. All that fake humility. He came here to steal." Victor added, "So he wanted to impress Anita by becoming a fraudster." But Anita was frozen. She stood at her desk, watching the scene, her hands shaking. "No, this can't be true," she whispered. John didn't defend himself. He didn't shout. He just stood there quiet, controlled, watching. "Take him out," Mr. Wallow shouted. As the guards dragged John toward the exit, Anita ran forward. "Stop," she cried. "You haven't even investigated properly." Mr. Wallow turned to her. "Stay out of this, Miss Anita. Unless you want to join him." John looked at her and gave a calm nod, as if to say, "Don't worry, I've got this." He didn't resist. He allowed them to push him outside like trash. Once outside, he stood under the sun for a moment. Then he walked away quietly. But what the office didn't know was that everything had been planned. That evening, Anita couldn't sleep. She paced up and down her room, replaying the moment over and over. Why didn't he fight back? Why didn't he say anything? She remembered all his kind actions. All his wise words. The hospital payment. The wooden necklace. And suddenly, her heart screamed. He's not a thief. The next morning, something shocking happened. At exactly 10 a.m., a convoy of 5 black SUVs drove into the office compound. 2 stern-looking men in suits walked out and entered the building. "Where is Mr. Wallow?" one of them asked. "Inside his office," the receptionist replied, confused. They walked straight in. Within minutes, Mr. Wallow was dragged out. He was screaming. "Wait, what is going on? Who are you people?" One of the men flashed an ID card. "Corporate security, Holdings." The office went silent. Holdings? Wasn't that one of the richest private companies in Nigeria? Just then, another black Mercedes pulled up. And out came John. But this time, he wasn't wearing torn clothes. He wore a navy blue designer suit, clean black shoes, a gold wristwatch, and behind him stood 2 bodyguards. Everyone gasped. Chinwei's mouth opened wide like a fried yam seller seeing. Victor nearly dropped his phone. Anita stood frozen, hand over her mouth. "Good morning, everyone," John said calmly, walking into the office with confidence. "My name is Mr. John CEO of Holdings. And this company belongs to me." Screams, whispers, phones recording. People couldn't believe it. John walked straight to the center of the office, looked around at all the people who once mocked him, and continued. 3 months ago, I decided to come here undercover. I wanted to see how real people work. I wanted to know how the poor are treated. Because I was planning to invest in people, not just buildings. And what did I find? He paused. Disrespect, gossip, pride, wickedness. He turned to Mr. Wallow. "You, sir, framed me for fraud. But the footage on this USB says otherwise. He handed the USB to the corporate team. Play the CCTV footage. Minutes later, the video showed Mr. Wallow entering the account's office late at night and signing the check himself, placing it in John's drawer. More gasps. John faced the entire staff. I was called names, laughed at, treated like dirt. But one person stood by me. He turned to Anita. She was crying now. He walked toward her. You showed me kindness when others showed me hate. You shared your food. You gave me time. You wore the gift I gave you like it was gold. You stood by me even when the whole office turned against me. And for that, I thank you. He smiled. Today, I came not just to reveal who I am. I came to take you with me. Anita's heart skipped. What do you mean? John smiled. I want you to come work directly for me. Not as a secretary. Not as a file carrier, but as my executive personal manager. And, he paused, took a deep breath, held her hands. If your heart says yes, I want to spend my life with you. The office screamed. Phones dropped. Even the fan on the ceiling began to turn faster. Anita was shaking. John, I don't know what to say. He smiled. Just say what your heart has always known. And through her tears, Anita nodded. Yes. Cheers. Laughter. Shock. And somewhere in the corner, Chinwei fainted. The office was still silent. No one could believe what had just happened. John, now Mr. John Billionaire CEO, had just proposed publicly to the same nobody they all mocked. Anita, with tears on her face and joy in her heart, had said yes. But John wasn't done. He turned back to the stunned staff. I know many of you are confused, angry, embarrassed, maybe even ashamed. He paused and looked around. Some of you judged me by my shoes, my clothes, my phone. You thought I was too poor to be respected. But today, I'm not here for revenge. The staff looked up. Instead, I'm here for reflection. Because what you did to me, you could easily do to someone else. He looked straight at Chinwei. You laughed when I gave a gift from my heart. Chinwei couldn't even look up. Her mouth was shaking. He turned to Victor. You mocked my quietness. But sometimes, silence is louder than noise. Victor looked down, sweat gathering at his neck. Then John said something unexpected. I forgive all of you. Gasps filled the room again. But forgiveness does not mean forgetfulness. Some of you will be retrained. Some will be transferred. And some will go. He handed a file to his assistant. I'm building a new department that focuses on empathy, team spirit, and real leadership. Anita will head it. We are going to build people, not just profits. Anita stepped forward. I'm not better than any of you, she said, but I made a choice to be kind, even when others weren't. We all have that power. I hope we can learn from this. That afternoon, the office was completely transformed. Gossip stopped. Eyes opened. People began to reflect on how they treated others, especially those who looked poor. John took Anita out for lunch in a quiet restaurant. No cameras. No luxury show-off. Just the two of them. Over a plate of white rice and peppered fish, he held her hand. Anita, I've been rich for years. I've seen money, power, influence, but I've never seen a heart like yours. She smiled shyly. I didn't love you because of who you are, she said. I loved you because of how you made me feel seen, safe, and respected. He nodded. And I promise, you will never feel anything less for the rest of your life. And then, the wedding came. Not the loud, overcrowded kind with guests and flying drones. Classy wedding in a garden inn. Family. Close friends. Anita wore a white gown that looked like heaven. John wore a black tuxedo that made him look like a prince. And when the priest said, you may now kiss the bride, the applauses. They didn't just marry in style. They married with purpose. After the wedding, they moved abroad, first to Canada, then to London, not because they hated Nigeria, but because they wanted a fresh beginning. My friends, is the story of John and Anita a story of humility, loyalty, and true love. A billionaire hid his wealth just to find one thing: a good heart. He was insulted, mocked, rejected. But one woman stood by him when he had nothing. In return, he gave her everything. This story is not just fiction, it's a life lesson. Don't judge people by what they wear, where they live, or how much they earn. Because the person you look down on today may be the one you will look up to tomorrow. Be kind, be real, love truly. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. More powerful stories are coming your way. Until next time, stay blessed, stay humble, and never stop believing in true love. Thank you so much. I love you all. Bye.